Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Danielle, and today's pick card reading will have an extended. This part of the reading is very focused on the person on your mind. We do an energy check to see how you've been perceiving them, and then right after that we look into how they've actually been feeling, and then getting further details and clarifications about why they've been feeling that way. And then also we'll get some suggestions and guidance about what they are wanting from you. And then if you want to tune in to the extended, it is available on the YouTube membership. You can cancel at any time. And when you are a member, you can get access to all the other members only videos. So that's kind of cool. You can take advantage of that with just the price of the 1 month reading. Pretty good deal. Anyways, in that extended, we're going to look at guidance suggestions specifically for you because this card reading is so focused on them. And yeah, without further ado, let's look at the pile options. So pile 1 is the Citrine cluster. Pile 2 is the Selenite tower. And lastly, pile 3 is this cube, we'll call it a cube, of Apophyllite. It's actually very sparkly in person. There you go, maybe you can see it a little bit there. So that being said, if you have done a pick a card reading before, go ahead and choose your piles. If you haven't and you'd like a little explanation, I'll give you one right now. So the best thing to do before coming to a card reading, or even now, is if you're able to close your eyes, take a deep breath in down through the nose and an exhale out the mouth. And really what we're trying to do is drop out of the mind and into the body. Some people like to put a hand on their heart so that they can connect more to what's going on there than say whatever the mind is trying to process and figure out throughout the day. And then try taking a couple more breaths, just really calming the body down, getting centered again. It's best to do this because there's always 2 different energies we can pick a card reading with. And one can be sort of like the chaos and the ego and the fear. And the other one can be more from that loving space, highest potential, highest possibility. And I always try to get people more in that energy so that they can just get the messages that are in their highest good, or that they can easily tell if the reading is for them or not. Just trust your intuition because you'll be more connected to it. So that being said, if you still haven't opened your eyes, that's great. Before you do, ask yourself the question, do one of these piles have a message for me? And then when you open your eyes, look at the piles. You may look at the cards. You might look at the color of the cards, the imagery, or just the crystals themselves. And if one of them is like just really capturing your attention, feeling very drawn to it, then I would take that as your pile. If there's a few, like if you're like, I'm kind of drawn to 2 of them, then that's what's the energy checks are so great for, is you can listen to the energy check and see if it's resonating. If it's not, then it might not be for you. And then you know to go to the other pile. Or sometimes people do watch both piles and it's just 2 different people in their mind, or they both talk to something of that person on your mind, a part of them that is kind of in between both piles. So there's no wrong or right way to do it. Some other people like to go into the description box below and there'll be a timestamp next to each pile and use that to choose the pile they are going to go for, because there could be a number you've been seeing a lot lately or a number that means something to you. But otherwise, that's all that there is to it. So I'll leave you here and I'll see you in your card readings after you've chosen yours. Hello, pile 1. So you chose this Citrine cluster. Just going to put it right over here next to the very large cluster. Maybe I'll put it on top. There you go. So today we're going to be starting with the energy check on how do you see this person that you are inquiring about. So this is all in lemon light for your eyes. Good, of course. How does pile 1 see the person on their mind? who they are thinking of for this reading. Scorpion. Okay, and you know what? We'll do Dragon. And I'm also, just to give myself the card reader information, I'm going to pull 3 cards for how they are currently feeling. Just so I can kind of see the difference in the energies. Okay, cool. Awesome. Cool. I think you can see them all. Yes. Awesome. Awesome. If you chose this pile, it's extremely likely that this is talking about a romantic relationship or connection. To be honest, I think the majority who would have chosen this pile, it would be a newer relationship, more so like a crush, or like someone you don't even actually have a relationship with, someone you would like to pursue a relationship with. If that's not your situation, there would be a few people, I wonder, who might have chosen this pile. If you're currently in a relationship and the person has been very focused on work, on a hobby, on some sort of goal in their life, and they've actually been a little distracted from paying as much attention to you as they normally would, or being as attentive to you as they normally are. So one of those 2 scenarios definitely would make sense here. So how you see this person, firstly, I have to say it's really humorous to me that all 3 of these cards talk about passion. So I would imagine that this is someone, sorry, I'm kind of laughing a little bit because it's always a little awkward to be like, this is someone there's a lot of physical chemistry with, or you have a lot of physical attraction to, definitely on your side. And not that the other person doesn't feel the same way, but like when I'm looking at how you see this person, it comes through in each card. The other thing that's very interesting too is, so the Scorpion is like a very fiery person, someone who can just like throw themselves into something full speed, and like it's like I would almost see like set their eye on a goal and they're like, I'm gonna do what I have to get there, and there is a lot of passion that helps drive them to be that focused on those goals. But what I'm kind of getting a little bit of shadow energy with the Scorpion card in this deck. It does talk about someone who might be almost like going after something a little to their detriment. So they might be overly focused on it. They might be, this is where I was getting kind of that distance energy. So if you're someone where this is like a connection where you have a crush on them, there is a little bit of a message coming through where you might not actually totally know where you stand with them, because you see like their passion, you see their drive, but it seems almost like they're a bit distracted. Because even the Snake card is one about like passion and like pursuing things that they are like wanting to pursue. But the other thing that is interesting with all these cards, so the Dragon is kind of someone who is a little introverted, who can see so much but doesn't always share that wisdom. And same with the Scorpion. Sometimes it's someone who has so much going on internally, but they don't actually communicate it externally. So this is why this is a bit of an interesting pile, because I would feel like if this, like, if it's either your long-term partner or just even like someone you're officially in a relationship with is not giving you the attention you normally do, the main issue I'm feeling is communication. It's like you just don't really know where they stand because their focus is so much on this goal or this thing they're going after. And I would just say, like, you would even maybe feel a little bit off about it just because this person, I feel like, normally puts that level of focus on you. So it probably would feel a little like concerning to you because, like I said, like it's so much attention and so much passion, and all of a sudden they have like something else taking up a lot of their focus. It's almost like, whoa, even if you're still getting a lot of their attention, it just feels like almost nothing compared to their normal amount. So I would see why you're kind of wanting to watch a reading and being like, what is going on? Just wanting to check in, like, we still good. And I do think it's because, like, I would imagine if you're watching this, you probably try to communicate with them a little bit. But then there's just like some reassurance you're needing to be like, is this person still into me, or like what is going on? And if you're also someone where you're not in an official relationship, but you're just like really intrigued by this person, I would see this as someone, this would feel like someone who is like can be really full in, but then all of a sudden you don't hear from them for a few days, and then they're really full in again, and then you don't hear from them again, and you're just like, what is going on? Like, does this person even like me? Like, I'm really into this person, because whoever you are as a viewer in all these situations, you're very into this person for sure. For sure. And the other thing I should say though is the other card, like with the dragon coming through, this does talk a little bit about chaos being in someone's life, and sometimes that like hardship can be here. So you might recognize that this person is going through a more stressful time. I would wonder if it's like career related. Only like this is like definitely my human bias coming in because of time of year. Like this is usually when I find people start to get a little more financially in check, and can be a little more stressful, or there's more work because there's a lot of vacation time during the summer, or they're wanting to take vacation over the winter. I just find like this is like the time of year where finances really catch up with us. So this could be something you're seeing this person go through. Otherwise, there could just be like ending in relationships or something like that, where there's like some sort of stress in transition time that you can recognize this person's going through, which might also be why you're giving this person some grace, for lack of better words, because I do feel like that. I feel like you're, from the viewer's side, you watching this, I feel like you're giving this person some grace. And if you're not in like a actual relationship with them, I feel like you're giving them more grace than you normally do, because I think you can recognize they're in some sort of transition time that is more stressful than normal in their life. So it makes sense if they are not their best selves right now. So yeah. Okay. So if that kind of makes sense with how you see this person, very passionate is like the main characteristic. Very passionate, very fiery. I imagine there's someone, who are quite physically affectionate, or physically intimate. Or you just got a lot of like of those vibes for them. Yeah. Okay. So maybe we'll leave these cards up for a little bit longer in case I want to refer to them. But for the cards I have about how they are seeing themselves, I do find it very interesting that the beaver is coming through, because I always see this card as like the very set on getting stability in their work and home environment. So that's also why I find it interesting that you're maybe seeing this person put a lot of attention on something else other than you right now, which can probably not feel so good. And then they have the card coming through that they are trying to get more stable. So yes, definitely they recognize that. But when I see the beaver through, it's kind of like you kind of put your head down and you kind of get after it. But the like light attribute to the beaver, which is kind of beautiful, is like they're doing it so that they can have stability for their family, for the people in their life, so that they can basically create the stability they need so that they can be support and stable for others. And then the zebra card, I always see this as like a really friendly card. It's like, that's just me thing. Like I don't know, I see a zebra and I see it as a person who is just trying to be a good friend, who's just trying to be there for others. I always see the zebras very empathetic too. I don't know why, okay? I know it's weird, but I just see it as that. But then the owl, which is interesting, I mean, what I'm getting from this one is actually just that this person is feeling like they're needing to look at the things they've avoided. So that's why I feel like this could be finances, it could be work situations, it could even be like, if some people, I don't know, I keep getting like somebody here might be getting divorced or separating from someone. There just might have been like some sort of relationship endings that they had to like deal with some things to do with that. And they're like kind of in this phase where it's like, I need to get my act together so that I can be more stable, so that I can like be the person I want to be. That's how I am seeing how they're feeling about it right now. Yeah. Okay. Maybe just a few more things before we start pulling more cards about maybe what has been stressing them, just to get a little more clarity for you and what they're wanting from you. I do just also want to mention that sometimes, like, if I actually read this from like a left to right card spread for this person, it actually is a pretty interesting story. It's like the owl, so it's kind of like it's ultimately like, I feel like something happened where they're like, look, I'm so tired of being stressed. I'm so tired of maybe avoiding looking at certain things in my life. It could be finances. It could be like relationships. It could just be even like their general happiness in their day to day. Like maybe they got tired of their job and they're like, I want to find the love for my job again. So it's like they got clarity or an insight around what they weren't liking in their lives anymore. And they got very curious. And they might even, I don't know if you would have been aware of this, but I feel like they started to research or look into, or I could see this being a person who started chat GPTing what they could do to change that situation and like what could they do to bring in more of this joy, more of this, I would almost just say like more of what they're wanting, like more purpose in their day to day. And then the beaver is like them putting in the work and getting really stable and structured so they can bring it in. And then the zebra is kind of like the ultimate outcome that they're wishing for, which is sort of like that free-spirited, being able to be less stressed, more easygoing. And even the zebra sometimes represents travel. So I even wonder if they're actually like wanting to like literally travel more in their life or something like that. So anyways, that is what I'm getting for that. So if that makes sense, if this aligns with the person you're asking about or the person on your mind, then let's move into the next part of the reading. Okay, so let's look at, sorry, I wrote a little note and I just covered it with the other cards. We're looking at stress, the stress they might have been under, like what they're going through, just for some clarity. And I would think for this pile, I think would be just some confirmation for you about why they've been behaving differently. I do feel like this pile has some trust in this person's character, because I kind of get that there is a lot of fear from you, the viewer, that this person, even if you are in a relationship maybe, but definitely if you're someone where there's no official relationship, that you might be nervous that this is like runner chaser vibes or someone who's not emotionally available. So it is interesting. I see that as the fear, but I'm not necessarily seeing that as the truth. So let's just see. Yeah, let's just pull some cards and see what's going on from their side. I feel like ultimately like a very straight up conversation would be the best solution for this pile, because I think you would just get your answers right there. If they gave you, like, if they couldn't have a conversation with you, then I think you would know that that was probably someone who's a little bit of an avoidant attachment style or a runner chaser vibe, someone who is maybe pulling away. But if they would have the conversation with you and explain and even apologize for maybe their lack of communication with you or lack of time with you, then I feel like that would give you a little more reassurance that it is just a phase in time. But maybe you already did have a conversation and you're literally just looking for some reassurance from me, the card reader. So anyways, that being said, let's just go like that. What is pile one's person working through right now? What is pile one's person working through? Okay. You know what? Yeah, we're just going to go ahead and pull 6 cards, apparently. Sometimes that just happens. Okay, so we have surrender to your soul's path. This is what I was kind of saying with that owl energy and the zebra energy, where I feel like something just happened where this person is like, I want something different. I want to feel better in my life. I want to feel less stressed. I want to have more joy or excitement, or just like they wanted more positive emotion associated with what they were doing in life. So that's actually where I see the soul's path coming in. Surrender, procrastination. I actually love this too, because of what I was seeing with the beaver energy coming through, and even with how you're seeing them, is like they have decided to stop procrastinating. And I would even say avoiding. Like I feel like this person had some avoidant behaviors in dealing with the situation. So whether that was job, finances, or figuring out a separation or something like that with someone, or even maybe taking a better look at their mental health and getting them into a place where they were more excited or happy, or setting up a routine where they look forward to things, like the procrastination is going away. So I actually feel like these 2 cards are very positive for this person. and making sure that they're actually starting to live and lead a life that is more fulfilling for them. Surrender to your intuition, tune into your inner voice, be aware of any gut feelings, flashes, knowings, and ahas that come through to guide you. So they are definitely connecting more with their emotions too, which is why, so when I kind of like see this person's energy, I see it as someone maybe who was dealing with a little bit of like, I would almost call it like depression or light depression, malcontent, like just feeling like, any reason why someone would avoid something that's causing a lot of stress and panic and just like maybe even some shame that they might have had around, maybe feeling like they weren't where they should be in life, where they felt like they should have done better or they failed at something. It's just all those kind of emotions coming through for this person. And I feel like this is them getting connected to their emotions, starting to take accountability and responsibilities for being able to change it. So on a human level, like what they're doing right now, it feels very healthy for them to go after these things and to create the change they're needing and to start listening to their emotions, to start seeing and checking in with themselves about what's going on, what is not making them feel good in their life, what is not making them happy. So this is all for them. I gotta say that. So I haven't actually looked at how it is impacting you and their relationship and feelings towards you, but this, so ultimately, if you're someone who's like, I just want the best for someone, this person actually is taking steps that are in their best interest for their greater happiness, for their greater fulfillment, essentially. Surrender to success, belief in scarcity, surrender to silence. Yeah, okay. So what else they're working through is surrender to success is an interesting card, especially when it comes with surrender your belief in scarcity. So often we can find in card readings when I see people had an aversion to something or an avoidance around dealing with something, often it's because they felt like there couldn't be anything better or they couldn't change anything about it. Or if they did try to change it, they just end up back where they were. Like they'd end up back with the same kind of relationship, with the same kind of job, and the same level of kind of dissatisfaction. So sometimes people would rather not try than be disappointed again. And what I like about this coming through is like, actually, they're starting to like work through the idea that this change can be real and can happen for them. Also with the fact of the citrine, this is why I keep wondering if this is going to be like financial stability related, because I mean, citrine is abundance in all ways. So this person could even be like starting to process the idea that they could have like the type of love in their life that they never thought could be for them. They could meet the kind of person they never thought possible for them. Abundance is just like true satisfaction in so many ways. So I love that it's like something happened, whether it was meeting you or whether it was just something else in their life, just perfectly aligning for them to get this realization that they could want for more, they could get something different. It has arrived, but they are still working through this. And so I feel like what I'm seeing is they currently are like working through this, like they are tackling things, they're not avoiding things, they're starting to listen to their emotions, they're not avoiding them. But I feel like over here, they're still working through this fear that it all could be for nothing, that it all could not change anything in their life. And I think this is where, if you feel a heaviness to them, this is where it is. They are working, I think, full force, and I feel like their full attention is on this, more or less. Like it's such a tricky place because I can see they're so focused on this, they're so goal-orientated around getting through this, working through this, that I could see that they're like, well, when it's all done, then I'll be that person I want to be for everyone. But I can see how right now they would maybe be avoiding giving attention to a lot of those people that they're working so hard to have a better relationship with. Like they're doing all this work so they can be that person, but they're forgetting about some of the people during this process, which is kind of ironic, I guess, in a not so funny way. So yeah, you are ready to experience abundance. Don't look back at previous roadblocks or difficulties. Leap into an exciting new world of possibilities. This also makes me think of they might still be stuck in the what if kind of belief system. So although they're working so hard for this change, they might be someone who's like, well, what if it doesn't work? Or what if I don't make this? Or what if the job sucks? Or what if, I put in all this time and effort and it doesn't pay off? Like they're still kind of more focused on the what if it doesn't work versus being able to picture what it looks like if it does. And I do think they're working through this. I want to be very clear. I think they are working through this, but they're more stuck on the negative than the positive still. That might just give some clarification for this pile. Surrender to silence. So this is the card where I feel like this is what they're needing, but I don't think they're doing it. And I think this is where it's causing a little bit of, I'm going to say the word tiff in your relationship, because this person is like convinced that they have to go into action. Like they're in hard drive right now. They're like going, trying so hard to push through. I would say push through this phase as quickly as possible. But what this comes through is actually sometimes you need to take moments of quietness and surrender the fact that you can't control everything. And there's only so much you can do. And yes, it's so great to have started taking steps, but there's a need for like rest and true silence, like silence of like the mind. Because I think this person's mind is always like plotting now, like, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? How can I get ahead? How can I fix this? And I think they actually like quite literally might need to relax a bit more. So if you're someone in relationship with them, that might be like intentionally creating a calm atmosphere where you're like, all right, what can I help you get done that needs to absolutely get done today? And maybe we could stop checking the emails or stop doing whatever. And the next 2 hours is quiet time for us. And if 2 hours is too much to ask for from this person right now, which could be for some of you, maybe just an hour. And maybe just do like very nurturing, connecting things together. Because I think this person is having a hard time being present and calm in the moment, just because they're kind of like, it's the belief in it not working out that's keeping them really hustle and bustle and busy. So this is a great time to lean into now. What are they wanting from you? What are they wanting from you? I actually do think this is going to be great, because I kind of feel like we just are ending with like, what can you do so that this person, when they are interacting with you, can receive it or be more present with it. So let's take a glance at that. What is this person wanting from you, my viewers, in love and light for your highest good? I'm all involved. What are they wanting from you? Creative reading. It's like, oh, the cards aren't upside down. It just came out upside down, so we'll leave it. Leadership. Okay, clear. Intentions. All these cards are talking about communication and sight, so that's pretty interesting. Let's just pull 2 more. Oh, my cat Steve's gonna arrive. There we go. He's here. Hi, Steve. That don't think they want to see your bum, then. I know. It's a cute bum, but I don't think they want to look at it. Okay, so now watch he'll eat the microphone. It's kind of his thing. Yeah, creative writing. So what I do like about that one card coming up in reverse is I do feel like this person right now is struggling to kind of just, once again, I'm going to say relax and just take a breather and like think of things to do. So say if normally this person was like really good about coming up with date ideas or little things for you guys to do, you do believe this person would really appreciate it if you could take the stress of that or the burden of that a little bit more during this time and come up with like the date ideas or come up with like the plan. Or if you're going to make dinner together, maybe you offer to be the one to go get the groceries and things like that, and maybe you just say you split the costs or whatever it is. But just like the organization, I feel like that is just like one less thing this person has to think about, and I don't feel like they have a lot of space or capacity right now to think of extra fun things. So yeah, they're like literally feel like they're a little creativity blocked just from the stress that they are kind of feeling. Leadership, that's also where I kind of get like maybe taking more of the action. So if there is a conversation you're wanting to have with them, do you feel like this person would appreciate you being the initiator? Once again, I know this kind of is unfortunate because you're probably like, I just like, also I'm tired of always being the one starting these things. But I just feel like if we're talking about this person's capacity right now, I just don't think they have the extra capacity to be like going out of their way, thinking about all the things they can do for reassurance. But if you have a conversation with them or you lead the conversation into that, I feel like they wouldn't have any problems giving you that reassurance. I think it's almost like they're so focused on this other goal that they might not even realize you're needing the reassurance. So you communicating and kind of guiding them during this phase, I think will be really helpful. And I do keep getting that they really appreciate it if you announce your needs. And it's a funny thing to say, but announce your needs, because I keep getting that they're so in their head that if normally there is someone who is quite good at like understanding what you meant, even though you weren't maybe being super direct, I think right now they're really needing, like it says, crystal clear intentions. If you can be as clear as possible what you need, what you're wanting from them, then all that is appreciated, because I just feel like, once again, their mental capacity is like quite full, maybe overfilled. And you just making it that much easier for them to understand what you're needing from them, how they can be there for you, how can they meet these needs. It's so, so appreciated. The teaching and learning, keep an open mind, learn new ideas, then teach these ideas to others, and prioritize, focus your highest priorities. I actually just keep getting that. I feel like the biggest thing this person would say is like, be as clear and direct with me as possible. I would appreciate that right now. And like I even get prioritized like what you really do need from them. So yeah, I almost want to pull like some more clarifying cards here. Boop, here we go. Can I clarify or ties? Yeah, okay. So yeah. Okay, I was kind of going to say this. So I kind of get the viewer here. You might be someone who might be a little more of an anxious attachment style, and this person pulling away, if it makes you nervous, I know how sometimes we can get a little nervous about just clearly saying what we need, and sometimes we can just like hint at things. I keep getting that. Like you might hint at something where you're like, I'm just needing more validation, or I'm feeling insecure, or I'm feeling scared or anxious that you might leave. This person is like, I just need you to tell me. And I know that's probably really vulnerable and very scary, but I feel like when I see the surrender the addictions, this one comes up for like patterns in like relationship cycles that we have. So if you have a pattern of perhaps just waiting until they have time to realize you're needing reassurance, it's like, please don't do that. Please just be very clear about what you're needing. And because it comes up with fear of intimacy, I do just feel like it's saying like they recognize that perhaps you have a nervousness around people being avoidant attachment styles, or people being emotionally unavailable, or people pulling away. And I just feel like this person would really, really appreciate it if you would prioritize making sure that you were clear with what you were needing from them to feel the reassurance and get all those needs met. And teaching and learning, I kind of love this because I feel like it's like saying they're not going to get it all right now. And I feel like they recognize that they're not doing it all right. And you might not get it all right either. But I just feel like they're like, if we can like make it through this like chaotic time, then it is just going to be better in future. Like it actually just feels like a little bit of chaos for like, if this is like a newer relationship, like just figuring out how each other handles stress and how each one can support each other and still meet each other's need under stress. And then indigo and crystal children. So you have a bond with children in particular. In particular, you can help children who are sensitive. So let's pull another validation card for that one. But surrender drama. Okay. I love that. Okay. So I'm kind of laughing because I'm like, so essentially what this person is saying is like, if other people are like putting in their opinions or their 2 cents about this relationship, they're kind of like, please, like, don't go to them, come to me. I want you to come and talk to me, tell me exactly what you're needing, and we're going to learn from this experience, and we're going to try and do better. I do feel like normally this person definitely does take the lead in conversation. So I do feel like it's going to be unusual for you to have to be the one initiating it and being very direct with it. That might not be the case for everyone, but I just keep feeling like from their perspective of this person you're inquiring about, that is how they see it. They usually feel like they're taking the lead, and they're just really hoping that you will kind of mind the gap that it is happening right now and come to them with the stuff that you're needing. And I think I even love that it's kind of like recognizing that you are a sensitive person. So I feel like to some degree, this person's probably aware that you're very aware of their change in energy, but I feel like they're just like hoping that this relationship or that this connection will be okay through it. So there's so much yellow coming through. So I just feel like they're hoping that there's going to be a lot of personal growth through this, and even like a strengthening, if that makes sense, a strengthening in character, in your ability to be, what's the word? I don't want to say like a little more comfortable being uncomfortable, but just like knowing for them that if they are not able to give you the reassurance that you're always needing, that you're confident enough in the relationship and in yourself and your value, that it maybe won't start going down all these like places of fear and of being like worst case scenario, or they're gonna leave me, or things like that. Okay. Yeah, let's just pull just some conclusion cards here. Sorry, I'm holding on to my cat Steve in my other arm, so it's a little awkward to shuffle. You want this card, Steve? Beloved one. I'm helping you with spiritual soulmate relationships. Okay, I love that. So this card is all about communication. Archangel Samuel is like the angel that aligns us with the things that are meant for us. So that can be job, that can be the house, that can be the friendships. It can be obviously soulmates. So this card literally says like your romantic relationships. So I just feel like it's saying like, don't worry. This is like a growth period. I feel like for this pile, you're in a growth period. Look at that. You know what to do. Trust your inner knowledge and act upon it without delay. And you're being helped. I also just feel like this person like ultimately does value you and wants to make it work. I just feel like I keep getting that, like their capacity is just maxed out and they're very focused on getting through this instability in their life. Anything else for pile ones? Victory. Your prayers have been heard and answered. Have faith. Okay. Well, I love that. It feels like all these cards that are leaving you on are quite positive, and you gotta trust your intuition on the situation. But overall, I feel like it's like an interesting energy here. I feel like if I were to read this card reading from like the fear place of like, I feel like there's like a fear coming from the viewers. I have this pile of this person perhaps not being interested in them, perhaps not loving them, perhaps not being as into them as they are them. And I have to say that's like an ego fear that I'm feeling from the viewers. So it's like inner child wounding, past relationships having done this to you. So like this like fear that it's repeating. But when I tune into this person's energy, they are very focused on their goal right now, but there's nothing here that's saying that they don't like cherish and prioritize you. Like, it's just like what they're doing right now, unfortunately, does require more of their focus than they really can. How am I trying to say this? This is requiring a lot of focus, and they can't really manage anymore because the situation they're in is actually a pretty triggering, like pretty fear-based situation that they're trying to work through. So they're at their pretty max capacity that they can't over-validate you. Or I shouldn't even say over-validate you, but like they just can't give you the amount of validation that they're wanting to, and they're really needing you to come to them with your worries or anxieties. And once again, I keep getting the trust in the relationship. And kind of like, because they're saying they feel like, so this person you're inquiring about feels like this is like an anxious attachment style that you have a pattern of, and that you can kind of create worst case scenarios in your head, and then it can probably affect the relationship a little bit. So they're just asking that to your best ability, you try not to do that. Come to them with what you're needing from them, but also try to regulate yourself and work on your stuff as they are trying to work on their stuff, if that makes sense. So anyways, I am going to leave this part of the reading here. I was thinking about maybe doing an extended for this pile, so maybe we will. So why don't we turn this reading back to you? So in the extended, we're going to look at what do you need to know about this relationship from your like higher self, guides, angels, and guidance and suggestions for you. so that you can stay a little more regulated, because I feel like there is a lot of nervousness and fear coming up for you. And yeah, if you're interested in that, you can click on the link in the description box and it will be available to anyone who is a YouTube member. And you do get access to all the other extended and member-only readings. So I'll see you there, or I'll see you in another pick a card reading. Hello, pile 2. So you chose the Selenite Tower. I'm putting it right over there. So for the energy check, we're going to be looking at how you think the person on your mind is feeling right now. And then we're also going to pull how are they currently feeling themselves. So we can see a little bit about what's going on and pull more cards with a little more information after this. So that being said, all in love and light and for your highest good, how are you seeing or perceiving this person on your mind in love and light right now? How are you perceiving that they're feeling? Okay. Oh wow, we got 4. I was gonna only pull 3, but we'll keep the 4. Okay. And then how are they actually feeling right now? How is pile 2's person on their mind? How are they currently feeling? Okay. And currently this pile is getting lots of cards. That's okay though. All right, I'll just shuffle them a little bit so we can have everything in frame. Just go a little bit like that. All right, that's better. So it is a little bit interesting. In some ways, these actually mirror each other quite a bit. There's a little bit of a different perspective on it, but they actually overall feel pretty similar. So the black egg coming out with the frog. So the black egg is an interesting card. It kind of talks a little bit about coming from a place of just being absolutely in sync and aware, self-aware of all that is true, like the shadow aspects of ourselves, the things we're motivated by. Like there's no lies there. It's like, how would I put this? This is like seeing everything you want for yourself, being very real about it, and not maybe hiding things because of how other people might perceive it. It's just being really, really honest. But it can also symbolize being disconnected from that extreme self-awareness, that ability to really know why you're pursuing the things you're pursuing, the things that you're wanting, how you feel about things. And I'm kind of wondering if that's more the energy coming through, because with the frog coming in, it's often a card that I see come up when someone is feeling a bit disconnected from themselves. Someone is like needing like an energy cleanse, a detox, some self-care time. Basically, like I just, even with the imagery with this author, they even intentionally did rain coming and wiping and washing and clearing this frog. So frogs represent prosperity. So I find it always very interesting in this card deck specifically because of the imagery the author chose to do. So I would wonder if this pile, if you see, especially with these other 2 cards here, if you're seeing this person has been a little disconnected from themselves, they haven't really, had a lot of time to check in, to really touch base with what they're wanting. And I would even wonder if you would feel like they've been a little bit more, I don't want to say the word people pleaser, but maybe they've been a little more, how would I describe that? Like maybe they've been agreeing to things because that's what someone else has been wanting. Maybe they've been not standing up for their beliefs as much. So say if they're in like a work situation and someone's like, hey, I think I deserve 60% of the profits. I'll only give you 40. And then you're kind of like, what? You're doing more of the work. Why would you accept only 40% of the profits? It should be the other way around. But this person could be saying something like, it's okay, it's fine. I don't want to like trouble it. I'm good with only 40%. Something like that. So I'm getting like this active energy, realizing that they're coming back to themselves. I want to say that they're coming out of this era of wanting to be confrontational, non-destructive. They're not wanting to be destructive, and they're starting to realize that they need to start, I want to say, standing up for what they believe in, and also kind of advocating for themselves. That's the word I want to use, advocating for themselves, because I don't actually feel like this person necessarily is around a bunch of bullies, but I think they're just around a lot of people where if you don't say what you're wanting or what your expectations are, they're not going to get hurt or met. So I feel like this person is just needing to get back to that, yes, this is what I need from this. This is so that I don't get burnt out. I need this sort of energy exchange, or I need this sort of agreement to be in place. Things like that. Yeah. Anyways, over here we have Eagle and Bee. So this actually does talk about being challenged, but being able to make it through it, which is an interesting card to get. I mean, once again, this is specific to this Oracle card deck. So Eagles usually are like that higher perspective, having the wisdom and courage and strength and knowledge to get through tasks, leadership. But in this deck specifically, it talks more about being able to overcome a tricky situation, or in this case, how I see it, being able to overcome a discomfort. So with what's coming up over here is I feel like this person really struggles to maybe make people upset or make people disappointed. And this is all coming from your perspective, I should say. So they might not advocate for themselves as much as perhaps you feel they should. But with this coming through, it feels like you're starting to see them trying to transition out of that. So bees are like hard workers, and they are putting all this hard work in for the queen bee. Isn't that interesting? But I feel like you see this person trying to learn how to start putting all that work in for themselves, putting all that effort in for themselves. All these cards also talk about people who are prone to burnout. So I would imagine that you would see this person as someone who tends to put too much effort into something without the balance of self-care or the balance of getting something back in return for their efforts, and maybe usually kind of eventually burning out. I know that sounds so sad, but I also want to say, like, tuning into this pile's energy, I feel like you really feel like this person is very empathetic. I would feel like you would feel like this person is very kind and generally wants to be helpful. And it's just through that, like, having so much compassion for other people and not wanting to make life harder on other people, that this person often kind of sacrifices their own needs more than others and ends up being the working bee, the tired one. Yeah. But you know what? The other thing is interesting is, like, bee personalities. People always love bee personalities. They're like, it's so funny. I want to say very accommodating, but very cheerful and very easygoing. They are like group focused. So like their like beliefs are for what's best for the group over their own personal gain. So it would honestly, this person you're inquiring about, I feel like, at least from your perspective, I should say, is a really like kind person. They're a very kind, thoughtful person. I would say this, you as a viewer, if this is resonating, you probably get a little bit frustrated with how much work they put into things without getting their own needs met. So you would see, I guess I already said this, you would see them burning out a lot, overworking. You would probably see some people taking a bit of advantage of them, but you also would see them just not asking for their needs to be met in some exchanges. So I'm trying to think of an example here. I think like that example I was trying to say, where say they're like splitting profits for something or workloads. The other person is like, are you okay with doing this, this, and this? This person, your person, is most likely to agree to that without actually saying like, hey, I actually don't have time to take on most of the work. What if I take this easier task this time and you take this one that takes a little bit longer because I've taken that task every other time or things like that. But yeah, anyways, what we have down here for how they are feeling. So it is interesting. So the otter is kind of similar to the bee energy, very easygoing, very like blissful, happy, kind of go lucky, very relationship based animal or person. But what is interesting is when it came out in the cluster, it's like, but they're wanting some change here. They're like willing to go through a change process to try something new. And it's interesting because the earthworm does talk about becoming a complete beginner at something, trying to do something that they've never done before, and maybe not being very good at it at first, but getting better as time goes on. And I kind of wonder if this would be for them, this like starting to set boundaries energy. Yeah, like I don't know. I almost wonder if this person can also recognize that they're very accommodating, or they're always trying to be the bigger person, but sometimes they need to set boundaries. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. I would wonder if you're inquiring, like this is a person on your mind. I would almost wonder if this is a friend of yours who you see go through these burnouts, or if this is like a husband or a wife or something like that, like a long-term partner that you've been trying to like convince to set better boundaries for themselves. Here's Charlie the cat. Yeah. And the oyster and the rabbit. So the oyster is all about literally kind of being a surprise coming out of your shell. Like, this is where I wonder, like, if they start setting boundaries with people, like, I kind of get a shock value coming from this. Like, it's surprising people, shocking people. I also kind of feel like this card, sorry, Charlie is like rubbing his face on the camera. Oh no, he just really likes to do that sometimes now. Yeah, he's scenting you as a viewer. Not here. Maybe we just get Charlie to move a little bit. Okay, so the really interesting thing with this coming out with the rabbit is, you know what, actually if I look at this might be this person is, I definitely get that this is like a personal growth thing coming through for this person. The rabbit is kind of like an interesting card. Also, it kind of talks about someone who can be very nervous. Sometimes someone who can be a bit self-deprecating in their humor or in their speech. So someone who can tend to talk about worst case scenarios, or like just any like what ifs, you know, someone with a lot of anxiety. And I wonder if this is even what this person is trying to work on, is not escalating situations, not letting their fear escalate situations. I feel like there's a lot of social anxiety for this person, because like oyster as well could sometimes be someone who gets so nervous they kind of like retreat within themselves. So, and you know what, if I'm being honest, when I saw this B card, I kept wondering if this person is going to start to put themselves out there more, like just even like letting people know them more, becoming more part of a community. And with this over here, like this is almost like what I feel like they're trying to get out of. They're trying to clear being kind of like introverted, maybe withdrawing from society if they get nervous or overwhelmed. Yeah, not fearing what other people believe, not fearing people's opinions, not fearing judgment so much. So that's kind of interesting. So this person is definitely trying to change, but I feel like it's at the very beginning of a personal transformation, in the sense that, you know, sometimes you go into a situation and you try to set boundaries, or you try to put yourself out there in a social group and you feel like you like bombed, like you were super awkward, or you should have said something different. But I feel like they're trying. That's the thing they need to see, is that they've tried, and that's better than having not put themselves out there. And I think with time, they'll eventually get the hang of it. Yeah, I don't know. I really feel like this person's trying to grow their social circles or something like that as well. So anyways, how they're feeling right now, I would feel like they're feeling excited, but incredibly nervous and scared about putting themselves more out there, about setting boundaries with people, about being more of themselves around people. But I do feel like they are committed to that path. So that's very interesting. Yeah. I would also wonder if this is the kind of person where at work, everyone relies on them to pick up extra shifts or do more of the harder work or take on more of the work, and not really to socialize with them. And I wonder if they're trying to get out of that stigma and more into like being one of the people they're socializing with, or going on these like maybe like these after work hangouts with people instead of staying behind and being the one doing the extra work. Yeah, I'm not totally sure, but something along those lines. If that's making sense, then let's look at some more information for you about what's going on. So let's pull some cards for why have they been feeling stressed. Pile two's person. All light for their eyes. Good. Why have they been feeling stressed? Spiritual growth. You are stronger than you know. End of an era. Wow, all these cards kind of look the same. And religion and spirituality. That's really interesting. They kind of have two cards that came out about spiritual growth, which is interesting because when I pulled this card, I was like, I wonder if this actually means more so like self-growth, self-development, spiritual growth. And then when we pulled religion, spirituality, I feel like that was like, no, actually, really, they might be having a bit of a spiritual awakening. They might be leaving a religious belief system. Maybe if they were raised religiously, they're starting to see perhaps some of the habits and lessons they learned from that religion that maybe might not be serving them. Very interesting. So all these cards on the top here are all very root chakra related and heart chakra related. So we talk a lot about being able to be seen more vulnerably, to be seen more for who they are truly, not how people want to perceive them or how people are supposed to be, or sorry, how people are supposed to look. So it is truly feeling like this person is like, it might be okay for me to be myself, even if I am different from others. I just think this person really does fear or has really had a lot of stress around being vulnerable around people and feeling like they aren't accepted as they are for some reason. And with the religion coming up twice and spiritual beliefs kind of coming up twice, I wonder if there's something to do with upbringing around religious upbringing. Yeah, ultimately. And the root chakra is like starting to change how you believe you're supported and your support systems in general. So I would see why this person would be pretty stressed. Those are pretty big things. Whenever you feel like your support system is changing or your values and how you were raised are becoming in question or being questioned, that can be very ungrounding, very destabilizing. So I feel like this person's been going through a bit of that. So let's just put some further clarification cards on why has this person been stressed for the spiritual growth card. Clarification. Okay, Ascended Masters. If you get nervous, focus on service. Okay. We're also going to pull for the middle card. We're going to pull for the top card. And we'll pull for the bottom card. There we go. Cool. So let's take a look here. Boom. Boom. Release and heart chakra. Okay, yeah. So I do kind of like it when there's a lot of cards that come through that just further kind of confirm a bit about what we've been talking about already. It's always nice. I definitely feel like you as the viewer are pretty perceptive to what's going on with this person. Why you'd be watching this card reading, maybe just to get validation, clarity. Sometimes if we've just been worrying a lot about someone, it's just nice to get a card reading about it. But everything I'm kind of seeing here is just repeating, like end of an era, release, heart chakra. So this is just what we were talking about. This person is really learning how to receive love, how to be like quite literally more heart opened and vulnerable. I do keep getting that message that this person, however they were raised, whether it was family or the society that or the community they were just nurtured or raised around, they really didn't perceive they were okay as they were. So this person could have been someone who just believed they were too sinful. That's kind of what I'm getting. Like, it's like, I keep trying to like tune in to like, well, what did they do? And I'm like, I think it was just because the modalities or whatever was being taught to them or preached to them. I think that there's just a lot of things about themselves that they're like, oh, I should be ashamed of this. Like, I have this desire. I should be shamed. Or I am not perfect. I'm not always super excited and happy to do some things, and maybe that makes me a bad person. Like, it just really feels like this person dealt with a lot of shame and perceived it to make them just shut down their hearts ultimately, like not feel like they could be who they were. But they are working through this. The release card for sure is talking about that, and even at the end of the era. So that is definitely going to make sense why they've been really going through it, because that actually, even with the Phoenix card that they were feeling, like that is like some big like world view shifts. Like if suddenly you don't believe there's nothing, like, sorry, if you believe your whole life that there's something wrong with you and you just don't fit in anywhere, and if anyone saw who you were, they wouldn't actually appreciate you, and maybe you're going to hell or something like that, and then all of a sudden you realize that none of that is true, that would be pretty mind-blowing. Like that would be just shattering of everything you ever believed. You probably start questioning a lot of things in your life. So it can be very understandable that this person is just going through it. It also makes sense why there's a lot of cards kind of talking a bit about a dark night of the soul, like just having this awakening. Anytime your paradigm views shift, it does change so much in your life. So what I do love is it says you're stronger than you know. So there's just a courage to this person that they're going to get through this time. I can imagine things feel very unstable for them, very ungrounded, and just very challenging. So when it comes up with the crown chakra, I just see this as saying like they're questioning everything they were ever taught, everything they were ever told was true. It's just like they might even have like honestly like some actual like headaches right now. Like they literally could just be thinking so much, reflecting so much that they might literally have a headache. There is a lot of purple coming in, so there could be like this realization that they can trust their intuition. They might have always maybe thought that it was bad to trust themselves, to trust what they were thinking, and there might be a little bit of a lesson here on realizing that everything they ever thought or believed in or felt actually could have been real. Like they could have trusted some feelings, some, I don't know, like inklings in their life. So singing and dancing, this is interesting. I don't know if this person has been doing this, but I would say there's some guidance coming through for them to do it, to sing and dance more. I gotta get dancing more than anything, because I just feel like they need the uplifting. They need to like shake off some of that stuff. This person would be open to a static dance. That would be a great thing for this person to try. Literally, if there's so much processing through them, it might be really helpful for them to be able to move their body to express it, because it might be hard for this person to express everything verbally that they're going through. They might find it's just hard to have words for it all. So dancing, singing could be really, really blissful. And spiritual growth. So just talks about ascended masters. So I feel like this is like maybe redefining what they believe in, and I almost feel like separating the people from the God, if that makes sense. So they might have find comfort in actual deities, in a god, in a universe, in goddesses, in something higher than themselves that is loving, that is nurturing, that is like a oneness of some sort, but without the judgment, without the condemning, without the, I want to say without having to be perfect, that coming out of it. And then if you get nervous, focus on service. Put your entire intention on answering the question, how can I make the world a better place? And the law of attraction will automatically take care of your needs. Yeah. So I feel like what they've been trying to do is like redefining what they believe in. And I do feel like this person feels very lost without any belief in a higher power. So they are just trying to, I would say through like ups and downs, trying to connect to that like higher power that is loving, and literally do feel like trying to do what they can to make the world a better place, because that's all they can control. And I think there's a part of them that's like, if all your beliefs are shattered, then what you might need is just a belief that that you can just try your best to make the world a better place. And if that's all you can do, then at least it did something. It did something beautiful. It did something loving. It wasn't all for nothing. Like, I just kind of get things like that for this person, to help them work through this time. And then same with power animal. Whenever that card comes up, it's like being able to see where you can be empowered in the situation. So it's very easy to feel disempowered when we have like our realities collapse on themselves, for lack of better words. And it's like the best thing they can do right now is just remember where they can take action, where they are, like what can they do with the information they know now? How can they better themselves with the information they know now? So it's just, what can you do? What can you actually do? Where's the empowerment here? What's the lesson here? And fairies is like, how can you still find the joy? How can you still find the play? How can you still love what this life is even about? How can you still take joy in it? So, pretty big thing this person is going through. Pretty big thing. What's the next thing we're going to look at? I think we're going to be looking at what they want from you. I think, yeah. What are they wanting from you? Let's look at that. And then there will be an extended, and we'll just be looking at guidance and suggestions for you around this person. Yeah, because obviously you're inquiring about them because you care about them, so that just makes sense. All right. So, what is this person wanting from you? Okay, third eye chakra, emotional sensitivity, manifestation power. Okay, so third eye chakra is all about, look at that, it's safe to see the energy of love in all its forms. What I see, what they're wanting from you is just your, I want to say, ability to hold space and have compassion for them, to be, I quite literally do see, like, be sensitive with how they are. If you're someone who's like, I told you, like, maybe you don't want to, like, there's a party that might want to say that, like, I told you that that person or that religious group was not okay. Like, as you can probably tell, rubbing that in their face is not going to support them. I think this pile probably already knows that. But there's just so much here saying you just being there to support them and even comfort them during this time is really appreciated. Just like a softness, because this person kind of feels like a bit raw, a little like, you know, everything you believed in just got like thrown at you, and you're just, I don't know how else to explain that. Raw and vulnerable. They're feeling raw and vulnerable. And any kind of compassion, kindness, and nurturing energy is really appreciated. Third eye, yeah, being able to see them and really see them. See them for the pain they're experiencing, see what they're going through. And even like when I see third eye chakra, I usually see that as like be able to see them from another's perspective. So I think they just want you to be able to see their side, be able to honor your perspective inside of it, and just see the situation from the outside in. Like it was like really devastating for them. It really rocked their world. And I just keep feeling like this pile might have warned this person. So that could be like something that would have been a little frustrating for you. And use spiritual gifts and natural ability to attract your desired outcome. This one is interesting. I usually get this as like kind of teaching people, reminding them, helping them to find the power in the situation. So it's like acknowledging them, seeing that it is challenging for them, but also helping them feel empowered in the situation and finding the joy in it, finding the lesson in it. I know joy is kind of weird, but if this person got out of, say, like a cult or a very controlling organization, being able to show them how much freedom they have now, what they'll be able to do with it, that actually could help with all the devastation and all the challenges that they are working through emotionally and personally. And I just get like, yeah, just honoring their sensitivities, reminding them that they are empowered. Maybe that organization or those people actually can't have any control over them anymore, that they're safe, that their life is back in their own hands, something like that. She's very interesting. Okay, anything else this person would like from pile 2s? All the light color has good. Visualize success. See yourself doing well in the situation. Have faith in the positive outcome. Yeah, okay. It seems like this person is really needing to borrow some positivity from you. All these cards are kind of a little bit like, just know that I'm going to get through this. No, remind me that I can get through it. And if like, I almost feel like this person wants to like borrow your ability to see the outcome being for the best. They want to like borrow that belief because they don't think they have it themselves. Like trusting that they're going to get through this. They're going to be okay. They're going to find their joy again. They are living in integrity with themselves. They are protected. They are safe, and just helping them work through any fear. Especially if the fear is sort of irrational, it's kind of like, hey, let's look at what we actually know logically or practically, and this is why everything's going to be okay. Yeah. I'm so curious about what the situation is, because for some people I was like, is this like an addiction? I don't know. Or a group that caused an addiction, or maybe it's like an organization that they are addicted to. I'm not sure. But anyways, if you would like to see the extended, well, we'll look at just guidance and suggestions for yourself around all of this. You can join us in the extended. I'll leave the link in the description box below. It is for YouTube members, and when you do become a YouTube member, you do get access to all the other members only videos. That's kind of cool. And yeah, I'll see you either in that or in another pick a card reading. Hope you guys have a good one. Hello, file 3. So you chose the Apophyllite. I'll just put it right over here. I'm so excited to get your pile reading started. I've actually taken like 3 days to get through all the piles. I wasn't expecting that. Oh, and there's Millie. I wasn't expecting it. And I was actually really excited after the first pile to keep going, but I just kept having things come up and just didn't have time. So I'm really excited to do your reading. I'm feeling pretty good this morning. Had some great conversations already with some people. So it's always like a great way to be starting a card reading. The cats have also been in a pretty good mood today, so that's always a plus. I can't help but wonder, like here as I'm recording, it is like 2 days after the full moon, so maybe everyone's calming down. I felt like the days were quite chaotic there for a little bit. And if you're watching this as the reading's coming out, maybe you were also feeling that this full moon. Seems like it was like the full moon in Aries, so it, it was kind of some chaotic vibes. So anyways, let's get your cards going. If you didn't watch the intro, that's totally cool. Oh, I guess Millie's gonna send you the viewers and the camera. Yep, I would sometimes wish you could see how cute their faces look when they're doing this, but the problem is that their face is so close to the lens, it makes sense that you can't see their faces. Okay. Hey, Moo. Okay, so, oh my gosh, apologies. Anywho, I guess Millie's just putting some good vibes into these cards for you. We're first going to do a 3-card pull. That's my intention, is about 3 cards to see... Sorry, I'm so distracted now by cats. I was just saying how I've not really been distracted, and now here we are. We're in a 3-card pull just to see how you perceive this person, how you perceive their feeling right now. And then I'll pull right underneath 3 cards for how they are feeling themselves from their eyes, from their perspective. And of course, whenever we do card readings, we're always trying to ask their highest self so we get the most clarity without all the ego, the judgment, and all those things. So that being said, let's pull some cards for you. Oh boy. Oh boy. Sorry, my cat Steve. Oh my gosh, just decided to crawl underneath my desk, but he's too fat to get back out. 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. My cat Steve kind of has this habit of literally getting stuck in places. He once got stuck under like a bed frame, probably more than once if I'm being honest. And in the middle of the night, I just hear him like screaming, and I'm like, how does he keep finding ways to get under there? Like you have to open a drawer, crawl through the drawer, kind of go through that gap in the back of the drawer, and then get under the bed, and then just get stuck there. And I'm just like, you think he would learn by now? But it's like he's just so curious. He just can't help himself, and then things go sideways. So I don't know. Maybe this pile is experiencing some of that. Maybe you have children that do that, or maybe your pets are slightly crazy like that. I'm not sure, but I have to say, so I have 4 cats. If you don't know me, I have 4 cats, and I had just one sitting in my lap when I started this reading, and now all 4 of them are in this room. So I feel like this person, this pile, this could be a confirmation message for you. Perhaps you have a connection to animals. Maybe you're an animal communicator. Maybe you do animal Reiki. Maybe you just have a lot of pets. Maybe you work for a shelter or volunteer at a shelter or something like that. But usually I don't have all of them in here the moment I start a reading. So anyways, let's pull cards all on lemon line for your highest good. Sorry, that's like a long intro chit chat thing that just happened there. Let's get to you. How are you perceiving the person on your mind? All in lemon light for your highest good. How are you perceiving them? This is your energy check. So we want it to be as clear and concise as possible. Again, fish. Ah, you got 4 too. Okay. I'm going to keep them together. In the last pile, they kind of came out in clusters to kind of confirm their meanings to each other. So I'm going to leave it like that. And then how is the person on their mind? How is that person actually feeling? How are they going through life right now? How are they handling life? Okay. It's not too different of energy there. Okay. This one kind of wanted to come out. You know what's interesting? The otters come out in every pile, I think, for how the person is feeling. And it's really interesting because every time I keep pulling it, I still keep the same energy for it. The otter is like someone who wants more connection, who wants to be in a more blissful state, someone who just like wants to be happy-go-lucky and like more grateful and just like love their life more, kind of like we all do. So it kind of makes sense that it's coming through. And once again, if you're watching this as it's coming out, or even within, like, I would say if you're in the Northern Hemisphere over the winter months, it would make sense, just because I find like this is kind of like a thing that a lot of people experience. Is just trying to figure out how to find joy and happiness and stay in a more upbeat mood during the winter season. But yeah, Northern Hemisphere stuff. Like I think I never really, I see a lot of people come from the States that watch this, but I don't know how their daylight times is. But like here where I live in Canada, like we go from having 16 hours of daylight in the summer all the way down to 8 hours in the winter. So it's like definitely a shock to the system. And as you know, if you've experienced anything like that where you live, it really, really affects people's mental health, because you're living in darkness. Like when you go to work, you're in a building usually while the light is out. And then when you come back home, it's all in darkness. So you never really see the sun. So yes, in Canada, we are very vitamin D deficient. So anyways, I know different parts of Canada actually experience more darkness than that. And I think some experience a little more light. So it does depend where you are, but where I've lived, that's generally how it's been. So anyways, let's get back to your reading. I feel like there's a lot of like chit-chatting going on. So I wonder if this pile, you as the viewer, because it's usually the viewer's energy that I'm kind of tuning into more than anything. I wonder if you're just kind of going through like a need for more socialization, or you might just be more of an outgoing person or something like that. I don't know why I feel really called to pull a card for you. Let's not. It's not on Steve. That's not my intention, but I'll do it. Okay, we got mouse and hummingbird for the viewer energy. That's really interesting. So I kind of get someone who's like very gentle, can be a little timid. For some reason, I keep thinking someone who's like from a small town. It doesn't mean you actually are, but you know, like small town personalities where they go into a coffee shop and they'll have like a cute, like warm-hearted little conversation with the barista. They acknowledge, that's what it is, acknowledging the people that come into interaction with, even if they aren't someone they know. Yeah, and I always see like the hummingbird person as someone who tries to bring more energy to the environment, to situations, and to people. They try to like spread a little bit of that love, but ironically can be very shy people. I think it's like when you feel shy, but like when you're intentionally going to a situation, you know you need to like find a little bit of courage. I don't know. Anyways, so back to this person, how you're perceiving them. Oh, sorry, bumped my camera there. So let me zoom in a little. This one's kind of interesting. So I wonder, like the first thing that actually really stands out to me between the differences be how you're perceiving them and how they are feeling themselves is you see them in a lot of empowered energy. So there's so much fire that comes through of your perception of them, and also water, which you feel like is them connecting to their emotions. So I also just want to say, like, I feel like this might be the one pile that I've done so far. And I actually anticipated this for all the piles, so I'm actually very surprised it didn't happen more, where I kind of feel like how you're perceiving them isn't completely accurate to how they're feeling. And hang on, before I lose you here, why I say that is I feel like this person, like the nightingale coming through, this talks about this person being very mental and not very like in their emotional body. So I kind of get that you perceive that they are someone who has a bit of a difficulty with being emotionally vulnerable, but you feel like they're very capable of it. Like, I wonder if you feel like they're very emotionally aware of themselves, but they have a hard time being vulnerable with it. And what I'm seeing from this person's perspective, so this is from, and I do, like we all do maybe misconceive our own perspectives or like our own self sometimes, like we can undermine actually how good we are at something. But this person talks about having a very hard time actually voicing how they're feeling, their emotions. It's like the nightingale is actually, I'm getting from it more of a throat chakra block. And I'm so drawn to the moon that it's standing on, which is the emotional body. And then when I'm looking over here at like more clarification on what they're struggling with, we have the rabbit and the moth. And the rabbit is someone who kind of believes in the worst case scenario, but it's very mind-based. It's kind of like, it makes me think of like some older person watching the news and only hearing the bad stuff again and again, as starting to like think like that. I don't know if any of you have ever experienced that, but it just makes me think about how my grandmother at the end of her days had dementia, and it was almost like a tape recording. Like it was probably a little bit of the inflated version of this, but it was like she just kept repeating like those fear statements of like I hate to say this, but it was like, oh, the immigration in Canada, like is taking like everything away from everyone who lives here, and they're dangerous, and they're the reason why we have crime. They're the reason why we have inflation. They're like, it's just like all this like directing fear about something, and like everything is bad, and just creating like thought loops again and again and again. And to the point where it was the only thing she talked about and said. And this person, I feel like in their mind, I don't think it's about that, but I think it's about something around their value. So they have a hard time being able to express their emotions, and I think they have a hard time connecting to their emotions. So that's where I feel like there's the difference, is I think you might be perceiving them as someone who can connect to their emotions but has a hard time voicing them. But I actually feel like they have a hard time not being in their mind and just sort of thinking what they should be feeling. So it's a little bit different, because you can think about how you should feel or think about how maybe you should react to something, but if you're not connecting to the emotion, it doesn't really help. You know, you kind of still have all that emotion built up and suppressed, and I feel like this person is struggling with that. And I think to some degree they realize that they're really, really stuck in the mental body. Probably someone who doesn't have very good sleep. even with the nightingale, I kept thinking of like, I don't think they sleep at night. I don't think they sleep at night very well. And I think it's essentially because their brains don't shut off, and they kind of, I feel like, obsess over something again and again and again in their mind, trying to figure something out again and again and again in their mind. With the butterfly, though, it does mean that they're trying to take action to change this. So that part I do agree with, like where everything here is saying you perceive them as taking empowered steps to change. And I think this is probably because I wouldn't be surprised if this is someone you're trying to date, and you're trying to like work on a deeper level of intimacy or emotional connection, because I feel like I feel like when I see the fish card for them from you, it's kind of like saying like they're someone who is like really easy to have them like come into your life. It was like really high energy at the start, but then it kind of seems like they have a hard time emotionally sticking around. Like it's not that they don't care, it's like they avoid their emotions, so they kind of slip away. But I do feel like if you're watching this is a connection where you're both actively trying to change that or work on that together. I would think. I think there's probably been a conversation around it. That would be my guess. And you feel like they're doing quite well, but this person doesn't feel like they are. So that's very interesting. There also is like a little bit of a energy to, if this person feels like if they just make more money and then maybe they can quit their job and then maybe they'll be happy. I feel like there's a bit of that. Like they're like, if I just push through all this work and in 5 years I'll have enough, then the money will make me happier. And I just feel like they're kind of still looking for material things to make that gap between their emotions and their mind to come together and make them happy. But I feel like this person, I feel like they actually are really struggling right now, because they need to learn that it's okay to sit and feel and be in their emotions. Like this person definitely tunes out their emotions from themselves. And I think they are really struggling with that. Yeah. Which is interesting because the tiger card up here for you, this one talks about being kind of like just one with their emotions, being able to really be at peace with them. But I can see why that would be the perception from your side, because this person is so intelligent that they know how to, like, once again, talk about how they should feel, talk around it. But I just kind of get sort of like this disconnection every time I speak. They're so mind heavy. You don't feel like they're very connected to that. So even with all the blue coming through for them, I think that's even coming through for like the throat chakra and the third eye chakra being a bit blocked, to even being able to communicate with their bodies and their own self about what's really going on. So this person might be prone to panic attacks or like, I don't want to quite say mental breakdowns, but like I could see them having had one in their life or being on the verge of going to have one at some point in their life, because you can only suppress your emotions for so long before they like come up and they're just in your face. And this person, that would be very overwhelming because they've kept them quite locked down is what I'm seeing. So, okay. If that resonated, if this resonates, then this is your pile. If this doesn't make any sense, those might not be your pile. You might want to choose a different one. But yeah, that being said, we're going to look at a little more clarification about why they've been so stressed. Why have they been struggling with this? Because I guess I would say, I don't know if I really intended that, but all the piles have talked about these people having a different stress right now. So maybe I need to reword the title of this card reading a little bit. So anyways, yeah, just getting some clarity, all in love and light, and for the highest good for everyone involved. Why is this person been feeling stressed? Okay, definitely that sleep thing. Okay, yeah. All right. So definitely coming through again. I feel like really, if this person doesn't have some sort of insomnia or sleep challenges, or say like, oh, I just have a hard time sleeping, then this I don't think would be the person you're inquiring about, because everything here talks about having a hard time sleeping because the brain will not shut off. So cloak yourself in light. This person probably has to do a lot of managing, mental managing, emotional managing, time managing throughout the day, whatever they do for work, or if they're a busy parent, or whatever activities they do, it keeps their brain very, very, very on. And I can see that if they're not creating like a practice around that, kind of seeps in the evening, and it is very, very hard for them to turn off that brain. Like, it keeps seeing this as like a funnel. Other thoughts just keep funneling in. Yeah, so really big thing with this person is their mind overworking, overanalyzing, constantly trying to figure things out. And then I also wonder if once they're sleeping, so they have all this stuff they need to figure out and they're always constantly trying to manage. I also wonder if when they're lying in bed and there's that moment of quietness, if all of a sudden the emotions try to start coming up about how they felt about the day, about what's going on with them. And I almost feel like then that's like overwhelming, because I think this person really does try to avoid the emotions, to not feel them. I think they might perceive them as being quite scary or overwhelming. And I even wonder, this is definitely something that is like a habit for a while. Like, at some point in their life, they might not have been allowed to have emotions or have reactions. Maybe they had to really be a bit of a parent to their parents when they were younger, or hold things together in the family, because this is kind of the same energy that you would see someone in the long term who has those patterns struggling with. The silence of being with just themselves at night. And then it's almost, overwhelming. So then they find their mind would stay busier, trying to not be in that silence. And as you can imagine, you got to let your mind calm down so that you can fall asleep. So this person for sure struggles with that. And that, as you know, like, our health can be so connected. If you're not getting sleep, like, that's literally when your body recovers, rests, digests, clears itself out, so it can be the most productive, the healthiest, the most vibrant, just feeling the best. I mean, who cares about having the prime health? Just feeling good in your day, both emotionally, mentally, physically, comes from getting that good night's sleep. So I can just imagine that this slowly actually kind of deteriorates this person quite a bit. Be generous, time for crayons. So yeah, I kind of see like this person definitely struggles with feeling like they can prioritize their time to just enjoy things. This like I think like keeps seeing this cup, and I'm like, they really need to just empty their cup. So if this is someone you're in a relationship with, or you're consciously trying to work with, like, say if it's like a husband or a wife, I would say a thing you could do for them is like choosing, like, I don't know if they're working in the evenings or in the mornings, but choosing one of those time frames where they're not working, to be like, hey, there's nothing on your plate. I'm going to manage and handle all of it. At first, that might be a little terrifying for this person, and they're going to not know what to do with that. I imagine they're going to try to keep busy in other ways, but at least it takes that mental load off, or starts to. Sorry, I'm like, well, my crystal is so dusty. I feel like, I guess if you don't move it for a week and you have cats, it probably gets dusty, but wow, poor crystal. Yeah. Anyways, what was I saying? Yeah, so just helping them not have to constantly feel like it's all on them to manage everything. And slowly, it is going to be a process, slowly letting them know that they can rely on you, that you can do this together, that they don't need to hold everything together, they don't need to manage everything. And once again, being prepared for this person to be quite hesitant or uncertain about how to empty that cup. So that's why I feel like just starting with maybe an hour a day or 2 hours a day, just slowly letting them get their nervous system comfortable with not being overstimulated. So that's also going to be the other challenge for this person, is their nervous system so wired and used to being in that panic. I always say this person lives in the beta brain state. If you know anything about the beta brain state, that would be it. That stress gets a lot of things done, But eventually it is helpful to be able to go into other brainwave states. So like, this is a person that if you could get them to go to a sound bath or start, like, I would say even like with 2-minute meditations, 5 might be really hard for them. So maybe 2 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, working up to like, say 15 minutes. That I think could be really, really helpful, because you're trying to teach their brain that they don't need to just always be in that beta, and that theta would be really, really great, because then their mind and their bodies could rest a little. So yeah, time for crayons, be generous. So that's definitely what I'm getting there. And this person, I do feel like will need support with this. This is one of those things where if your mind is so wired and rigged and programmed, is kind of what I want to say. It's been programmed for years and years to be in this state. Like, you need help. You need probably a little bit of counseling. You need the people in your life to understand that you're struggling with this, and you need people to just be kind of gentle on you and recognize that you might be very anxious and uncomfortable when you're just supposed to be. Like, that's just so counterintuitive to anything you know how to do, that it's nothing that you as the person is doing. It's literally just something that's never been safe for them. So just having that patience and that awareness, I believe, would be so, so helpful for this person. Get grounded, claim your boundaries, expect the best. Yeah. So getting grounded is ultimately, so this is going to be the hardest thing for this person. Harder than sleep, I bet. I'm kind of laughing because I'm like, oh boy, that's a lot. Because when you're grounded in your body, that's when you can really be restful too, because you're connected to your emotions. So getting there would feel really unsafe, would feel very overwhelming. If you never felt safe in your body, you never felt safe just to be, it would be very, very hard to feel like you could get grounded. So many goals for this person would be to learn how to be okay being just present with the body. And claiming your boundaries, once again, that's going to come up twice, is like really learning that you're not supposed to fix everyone's problems. That if someone comes to you with a listening ear, that it's not on them to solve all of them. I wonder if this person, like, if they could just be a listening ear, would realize that that's enough of a job. But to solve the problems, I feel like they start, like, I see the little spiral in this person's head. I feel like they start going like, all right, what can I do to help this person? I need to help them so they're not struggling. But it's like, actually, it's not their responsibility. So once again, this all feels very childhood related. I feel like this person really got raised to believe they were responsible for everything. And I keep getting like, they're supposed to hold it all together. They're supposed to hold it all together. And expect the best. So this is an interesting card. So why I feel like this is coming up for them is, why ultimately do you think someone would teach themselves to control the situation, to solve all the problems of everyone in the environment, to suppress their emotions, to control like everything about themselves, and to disattach from their own emotions so that they could best respond to the situation? Is because there's this anxiety and this belief that the worst case scenario can happen at any point. So, sorry, my cat Toby's yelling in the background. What I feel like this is even saying is, like, on a mental level, this person could really benefit from even learning to expect the best from people. And even like, if the best doesn't really resonate with them, but learning to not assume the worst thing is going to happen if someone's upset, to realize that the worst thing isn't going to happen if someone is a little bit stressed. Like, it's not on them, and there's no big blow up that's going to happen. I feel like they really need to learn that the environment they're in is safe, and that they can trust their environment. They can trust situations to work out. I feel like they can also trust that they're pretty intelligent and pretty, like, I mean, they're very intelligent from being like hyper aware of things all the time, but that they are gonna see if something is actually gonna go wrong, instead of always needing to overanalyze it. I don't know if that quite makes sense. So anyways, it's very interesting. I feel like I'm talking to you like this is your reading. But I feel like that's why I feel like this is like someone in your life that you're close with, It might be something like I said, a romantic partner of some sort. Someone, I kind of get someone that you might be dating. And you might be trying to work through this together, or you might even become aware of that they have like some like hyper awareness things going on, hard time to relax. Definitely you would notice the sleep, and maybe just been looking for clarity. So I kind of feel like I answered a little bit about what this person would want from you, but let's pull some cards intentionally just to be sure. So what would this person like from you as the viewer? Pile 3s. Call on your healer guides. Yeah. So I actually just feel like you clear the path. Yeah. So kind of as I was saying, it's so interesting. Ask your spirit helpers. Woo woo is wonderful. So I actually feel like if you're someone who does a meditation, or you have like a yoga practice, or you do something for them that is kind of like out there, and maybe it's not really their thing, but I feel like whatever it is, it's very calming to them. So I don't know, I could even see like, say, like yoga nidra. If you just speak in a very like quiet voice that helps them like relax, or if you, I don't know, like maybe you like give them acupuncture or something random like that, or maybe you play like instruments for them. They're like, ultimately they're saying is like they appreciate that. It might not be because they believe in the same thing as you, but they believe like what they are getting from you is that peacefulness. Like you even mimicking that peacefulness and that calmness really helps them, because it's almost like your nervous system is so calm that it like they're like essentially mirroring it. You're mirroring to them how their nervous system can be. So like, I'm sure you've seen this in interactions. If someone's really anxious and freaking out, it will be more likely, if you're not consciously aware of it, likely to dysregulate you as well, unless you've already set the intention for the day. You know that person's coming in and they're usually anxious. It's really easy for you to also have your nervous system become dysregulated. So this one is almost like consciously be the regulated nervous system. There we go. To mimic to theirs that it's safe and okay to be calm, to be good. And I feel like for you, how you do that is actually by being more strong in your own spiritual practice. So that might be by meditating. It might be by, if you like to call on your spirit helpers and like ask for guidance, like it's like whatever it is that makes you that grounded person, that is exactly what they want from you, because it's like, it's so healing to them. It's so healing to them. You being in their life, I think, is very, very healing to them. And I can see how maybe you've been like, oh, maybe I'm like too weird or something like that with this person, because they seem super analytical. But I just get that like, it's like your heart and your kindness is actually the thing that comes through in all of this, is you just are very, very, you're very healthy for them. That's like a weird word to use. Like I see the cup of tea and the apple, and it's just like, you're just very healthy influence. You're very healthy for them. But I should also say in the extended, we're going to be looking at guidance for you, because I always want to make sure that you, the viewer, are not taking on a healer role for this person, and that it's also a connection that is good for you as well. Good for you in the sense of like, it's not draining, it's mutual, it's reciprocal. Because I could see how maybe some people watching this could possibly be overbound, like what do I say, like the relationship could be out of balance, but I don't actually know. I haven't pulled any cards for you yet. Call in your healer guides. So this also is talking though about like this doesn't need to come from you. You don't need to be the solution here, but if you just stay grounded in yourself and you're just who you are yourself, that actually really helps this person. So you don't need to fix them. You just being you understanding what they're struggling with and not like taking it personally, essentially, is actually really the healing thing. And clearing the path, what I like about this is like you kind of seem to inspire them to open their mind up more. So who you are as a person seems to want them to like think about traveling, to think about the things they could learn, to think about the creative, beautiful things. Funny enough, I wonder if you help them with their money mindset too. Like either you don't stress about it as much, and that's like something that's like mind-blowing to them, because they're like, wait, you don't have to stress all the time about money. Or you could just be someone who's like got a fairly healthy relationship with money. Like maybe you like save a little, but you also don't deny yourself things that would like you're really, really excited for. I just feel like overall you bring like some inspiration, some really good balance into this person. So that's all I want from you. Okay, that being said, I'm going to leave this pile here and I'm going to do the extended now. And we're looking at specifically guidance and suggestions for you around all this, around this connection. And if you're interested in that, it's just for the YouTube memberships. And when you do sign up for the YouTube membership, you can cancel at any time. And you also get access to all the other members only videos. So even if you just want to do it for a video, you might as well check out all the other ones while you can. So anyways, I will either see you in another card reading or see you in the extended.